going to have our coach interview here.
MVP와 FXO의 1세트 경기가 방금 끝이 났습니다. 안녕하세요. 저는 최지원이고요. 2세트 경기 시작 전에 본선 첫 승을 노리는 감독님들과 인사를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. MVP의 최은상 감독님, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
네, FXO의 이영석 감독님,
Alright, so
안녕하세요.
let's see. We have Mr. Choi for MVP
네,
and of
감독님들
course Choya
반갑습니다.
for
오늘
FXO.
최은상 감독님 1세트 경기 황규석 선수가 완벽하게 승리를 거뒀는데요. 기분 좋게 출발하셨습니다. 어떠세요?
우선 황규석 선수가
He
자신
won the first match and she just asked how the MVP coach is feeling about this.
선봉으로서의 어떤 믿음을 저버리지 않는 선수라고 생각을 해서 딱 이제 시켰는데 저 지금도 흥분된 게 뭐냐면은 원래 황규석 선수가 롤 모델이 이윤열 선수예요. 근데 여러분도
He trusted in him and sent him out first.
제휴팀이
and he didn't
컴플렉시티와
disappoint him.
계약함으로써 저희랑 같이
So he
하게
seems to be
됐거든요.
pretty happy about it, obviously.
예. 그래서
Maybe a
바로
little bit
승리를
nervous on the spot right now.
하자마자 롤 모델에게 이 승리를 바친다고 가서 악수를 하더라고요. 예, 거기서 좀 짜릿했습니다.
네, 정말 보기 좋네요.
Yeah, Keen's role model seems to be Nara, and that is why he did
이영석 감독님,
the
1세트
handshake
아쉽게
after the
넘겨주셨는데 오늘 데뷔전이라서 그런지 역시 조금 긴장을 했었나 봐요. 많이 아쉬우시겠어요.
네, 뭐 데뷔전에 이기는 게 쉬운 일은 아니고 규석이가 경험이 많은 선수기 때문에 어느 정도 예상을 했는데 좀 많이 긴장한 것 같아요. 다음부터는 더 좋은 모습 보여줄 거예요.
He thinks that it was because of
그런데
nervousness
감독님
that
아까 진짜
Teo did
깜짝
not perform as well in
놀랐습니다.
his first match.
2세트 경기 감독님이 바로
Of course,
나오셨어요.
Keen's a
다들
veteran,
놀라셨을
so
것 같은데
he's obviously going to do a good job.
굉장히 기대가 됩니다. 오늘 복수전인가요? 전에 황규석 선수랑 붙은 적이 있으셨던 것 같은데
제 규석이한테 핵 맞고 예선관 이후로 지금 못 올라오고 있어요. 정신을 못 차리고 있는데 오늘 규석이 한번 이기고 이제 정신 차려야 될 것 같아요. 딱 이맘때쯤에 규석이한테 졌거든요. 1년
He
동안
said
규석이
because
고생하고
Keen
있어요.
nuked him and out of the GSL, he
꼭
wants to
이길 수
come back and get
있도록
some
준비
revenge
열심히
today.
했으니까 해볼게요.
네, 오늘 이길 수 있을지 복수가 가능할지 기대됩니다. 감독님, 오늘 2세트 감독님께서 바로 나오셨는데 어떻게 예상하세요?
예, 여러분도 아시다시피 저희 팀이 이상하게 첫 세트 승리했을 때보다 패배했을 때가 더 승률이 높아요. 그런데 이번에도 첫 세트를 이겨서 좀 걱정되긴 하는 찰나에
He seems a little bit bored.
이영석 감독이 나와줘서 승률의 어떤
The
희망이
team
더
tends to win
높아지지
more
않을까.
matches when they lose the first
예, 그렇게
set.
예상하고 있습니다.
그런가요?
So they won the
어떻게
first
될지
map today, and that's why they are a little bit worried now.
저번 주
But they will try
인터뷰
their
때
best.
감독님께서 이렇게 말씀하셨어요. 박수호 선수 그리고 정민수 선수 코드S 8강 집중해라 이렇게 말씀하셨는데 정말 집중하셨죠? 4강까지 가셨는데 오늘 출전 여부가 궁금하네요.
FXO가 진짜 각 종족별로 워낙 강한 팀이라 무조건 나올 것 같습니다. 만약에 풀세트까지 간다면 두 선수 모두 보실 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Even though Donagu and
무조건
Genius not
쓰시겠다
for
하셨는데요.
Codes right now,
감독님, 무서운 기세
they will
박수호
probably
정민수
come out
선수
today
어떻게
because
대비책을
FXO is a strong
세우셨나요?
team, so he
정민수는
expects them to make
거품이랑
a difference as well.
상관없고요. 저기 박수호 선수가 요새 기세가 좋은데 아까 리허설 때 되게 건방지더라고요. 자기를 끌어낼 수 있으면 끌어내라고 하는데 저희는 스나이핑 카드로 딱 한 명만 준비시켰고 그 카드가 나오기 전까지 박수호 선수를 끌어낼 수 있으면 오늘 저희가 이길 것 같아요.
네, 오늘 경기가 어떻게 될지 모두 기대해 보셔도 좋을 것 같네요. 마지막으로 오늘 우리 팀이 이길 수밖에 없는 이유 감독님들
Okay, so
오늘
he's a little bit
각오
worried about
한마디씩 해주시죠.
Dongregyu. He doesn't really care if Genius comes out. Obviously, there's a little bit of rivalry that we discussed earlier.
날아오는 모습을 MVP 팬분들에게 보여드리고
just waiting
싶어서
for the Genius
오늘
easy
첫
peasy.
경기만 승리하도록
That's
하겠습니다.
like an FXO trademark.
감독님 한마디 해주시죠.
네, 이게 듀얼 토너먼트
MVP was the
방식이라
champion
지더라도
last
기회가 한 번 더
season,
있는
and they
걸로
are
알고
trying
있어요.
their best
일단
to,
MVP는 팀리그에서 항상
win
잘해왔기
again.
때문에 오늘 도전자의 입장으로서 한번 이겨볼 수 있도록 최선을 다하겠습니다.
네, 두 분 감독님 모두 좋은 결과 있으시길 바라겠습니다. 감사드립니다. 네, 이상
He's going to do his best since
승리에
obviously
대한
he is the
자신감이 대단하신 두
challenger in
감독님을
this match.
만나봤습니다. 2세트
So
경기
we'll see how Choya can do here. You know, we were talking during the break, just how epic would it be actually if Choya can rip off his jacket like that, go in. There's obviously some rivalry here. He sits down in the booth, he gets revenge on Keen on a map of his choice. This is ideal for Choya.
Let's face it, he would be such a boss, just ripping his jacket apart, going into the booth, taking on Keen, laying it down for the team, and just taking the first win for his team. Then basically he could just chill out. But I can tell you one thing. If he actually wins against Keen, he will probably stroll over to the MVP bench and call out Genius. Like, come on, bring it.
Absolutely, man. And that would be a sight to see. That would be quite the epic PvP. Yeah, and Genius, you know, he PvP'd MC quite well last night, so...
Yeah, he did. So
I wouldn't want to be Choya right now with all the talk he's putting on.
But Choya is one to just put on a show, and I really like that. So he's a very cheery guy. His English is horrible, and every time he wants to talk to one of us, he's just at a loss of words, and at some point he's just like, well, no English, and starts hugging. And that always works, kind of. But yeah, he's just pretty cool showman. So let's see what he can do in this first game. It is gonna be calm before the storm.
Absolutely. Calm before the storm. All of Protosses love this map because in almost every matchup you can Nexus first on this map quite safely. There's almost no way to punish it. We've only seen a few players correctly punish that build on this map. And I think, without a doubt, we will see Nexus first here from Choya. He may have some sort of crazy strategy planned. We saw Haksu, for example, I'm referring to Oz, of course, go for a fast Zealot pressure against a Command Center first on this map, so that could happen as well.
I've seen Choya pull off a fast proxy tech to Colossi once against Terran, and it worked quite well.
He does that quite often.
He's known for crazy builds, and we'll see if he's pulling one off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into the game. Match number 2 between FXO and MVP. At the bottom right of the map, calm before the storm, we have for MVP their starting player still going strong. The Terran in the red colors, it is
MVP, Keen!
Won the first map against Tier, a Protoss player for FXOpen. Now he has to face a second one, a second Protoss player, this time the captain himself. Ripped his jacket apart, got ready for the battle, and is now facing Keen. It is, of course,
FXO, Choya!
You know, I actually have not seen, if I cannot think of a player who I have seen go in and out of Code S as many times as I have seen Keen. He has been through so many up and down matches. He's bounced in and out of Code S. It's almost like every other season he's in a different grade. So it says he looks like Choya. He does kind of, oh, that was perfect, man. Oh, I got some chills when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, it is Choya. How can he be in two places at once? That goes against the laws of nature.
Get this guy a FXO jacket, for Christ's sake. Now. You're the first doppelganger.
Oh, wow. So, it looks like we're not actually going to see a Nexus first. In fact, gas has been taken by Choya. We may see, Choya has done crazy builds on this map. He actually did a Colossus drop on this map when he played against QXC, when it was FOU versus FXOpen before the teams merged. He has done, like you said, proxy, robotics support bay, Colossi builds. And I think from Keen, we'll likely see a gas expand. He's not going to play too risky. I mean, obviously he knows that Choya has chosen the map, so to go for a command center first would almost play into Choya's hands, perhaps. So I like the choice to make the barracks first and go for the wall off.
There are a lot of mind games going on, especially in a map like Calm Before the Storm, where you usually expect your opponent to start with a very early expansion. As Wolf already mentioned, it's quite common for Protoss to try a a Nexus first build at the same time. Obviously, many Terran players try to get the 14cc, something that Keen is not doing, and he is, surprisingly enough, not taking the expansion. Not yet, that is. He's going for gas before he takes the command center now.
Interesting style. This way he can tech and get his gas at the same, or tech and get his command center there. Now,
this is a really interesting build. I don't think that I've seen this build on Calm Before the Storm so far.
I'm looking at Choya's build. It looks like he's going to do a 1 gateway expand, which is almost too safe for the map. He chrono boosted his Stalker before his pylon was done, so a little bit of a misstep there. He actually kind of wasted a chrono. I'm curious to see what his real plan is here. He's not going to 4-gate. He didn't save any chrono. He's not going to chrono boosting his warp gate research. It's going to be a 1-gate expand. But like I said, that's almost a little bit too safe. He's going to see no command center on the low ground. That's pretty normal. He's going to know the command center is at the back. He's going to want to put pressure on here, but it's not really going to be easy to do. There's the Nexus. You can see on the production tab. He's going to move up here, try to use the Zealot to gain vision to do damage with his Stalker, but obviously that was not very successful. Did not lose any hit points, though, on either unit, so...
Oh, Wolf, look at the production tab for Keen. We have double factory being built now.
I really like this choice. We're going to see a transition into, likely he's going to siege expand his natural, his front natural. Oh, is this going to be a 4-gate Nexus cancel? If he adds one more gateway, it will be, but no. I was like, that doesn't make sense. His warp gate research is almost done. It looks like Choya is planning on just sticking with the 3 gates before taking his 3rd Nexus. Now, on this map, a lot of this type of situation comes down to when do you make that 3rd base? Do you make the 3rd base your natural very quickly? Do you try to play safe, put pressure on your opponent before doing so? It looks like Choya's going to make that choice. He's now taking his robotics facility. And meanwhile, I really feel that we're going to see some siege tank production out of our Terran player Keen, although he has made a reactor, so he may get both. He may go for Blue Flame. I don't think that's going to be the case, but that has been more popular recently in this matchup.
Hellions and tanks it is.
So it's just going to be tanks. It's going to be able to secure that 3rd base very easily with siege mode, especially with the way this map is laid out. You can siege up on the high ground and the low ground.
We have seen some crazy contains on this map, especially this one Neo Steel Bunker contain comes to mind. That was just insane. I doubt that Keen will actually go for this build, but still, it's a valid option.
Very, very possible indeed. Right now, the worker count, obviously in our Protoss players' favor, 32 to 25. That's purely due to Chrono Boost. And Keen has been skipping an SCV or 2 here and there. Not always making 2 at a time. In fact, right now he's only making 1.
None of these players is playing too greedy right now. We haven't seen the 14cc, we haven't seen the Nexus first. Both try to play it a little bit more safe, and now the Forge 4, the FXOpen player for Choya, he's going for the upgrades while we have a salvage. Okay, for a second I just thought he cancelled one of his buildings.
He's going to make his command center now on the low ground, I think. It makes a lot of sense for him to do this. He can pressure out, put some pressure on. If his opponent has a 3rd base there, he may have to cancel it. He may even lose it if it's up. And at the same time, while he's pushing out, he can make that 3rd command center. I really like this build.
Keen has a pretty strong army. He's on 37 army supply against 14 so far. Choya has added a lot of tech and is now moving out. And he has not been scouted yet, but there is one observer, and the observer is now aware of what's happening. Choya will... Oh, nice scan, a nice pickup. Kills the observer. And now we will see more and more units being warped in for Choya, and he has to be really fast about it.
He does. Keen, oh, he wasted another Chrono again on the Forge. Now, Keen has not cut units. He is actually not making a command center. It looks like he wants to end this game right now, and I'm not sure if Choya's going to be able to hold this. Force fields are not going to be enough with this many siege tanks.
He needs to be very, very careful. The siege tanks at the bottom about to siege up, ladies and gentlemen. There they are, the first force field. And one of the sentries is immediately attacked, but he needs to be careful. He needs to force field the ramp. A couple of hit points left on the sentry. Another force field. He has 1 additional force field left. He's trying to take down a couple of units from the high ground. Vision has been granted, though. This is going to be so tough on Choya now. He's supply blocked.
Oh, man, he can't even engage because he's always afraid of the scan. And, of course, as I say that a scan does occur, I think Choya is going to die here, Caldor. He does not have enough units. The units have streamed into the base now. They're all in the base. There are so many Hellions here. In fact, 10 Hellions in the main base of Choya.
Choya is now getting additional warp-ins, but he's only on 34 army supply against 54. And here comes Keen taking down the first production building. In the back, the first Colossus is being built, but it's not enough. It's not going to be enough. I'm afraid that he might die just now, Wolf.
I'm afraid you're right, Caldor. There are a few Zealots out here, but this many Hellions. There's only 1 Immortal. The tank's just doing so much damage. The 4th tank is going to get into the main.
And another gateway just died. He's down. Another one dies. He doesn't have any additional gateways anymore. No more warp-ins. He has to rely on the Colossus. Colossus is out, but he doesn't have extended thermal lands.
The Artosis pylon depowers all the buildings now, and Choya cannot research range as range production has been halted. He does, as you said, have 1 Colossus. It doesn't look like the second one will emerge. His robotics is going to go down long before that.
He has to attack now, and I don't think it will be enough. He's trying to engage, but there are the tanks. They are already saved by the Hellions. Nice. Very well positioned by Keen. He has bunkers in the back as well. The 1 Colossus does not seem to be enough, but he's actually doing a really good job at defending.
He is actually going to break through here, but the probes lost. Actually, this is a pretty close trade here, Caldor. The probes lost to workers lost.
I'm impressed.
A lot of probes lost, but with the amount of workers that were cut by Keen, it's 27 probes now to 29 SCVs. The key here, though, is he did lose his robotics.
And of course, he lost most of his gateway, so I'm actually really surprised that he was able to hold, especially with the nice positioning of Keen. But at the same time, the Terran player did so much damage, and there's only one gateway left, so it's going to be really crucial that Choya gets his production buildings up again, so that he can build an army that is able to hold a candle to Keen's forces.
Yeah, Keen's forces right now, it's 30 army supply for Keen to 16.
And he tries to be cute. He's going for the Templar, for the Dark Shrine now.
I really like that, because this is something that you can do to really get ahead. Oh, look at this. The SCVs have been pulled here. Wow. Now, this may end up working.
I am not quite sure if Keen should actually attempt to all-in his opponent.
Oh, I
with
don't
his
like
SCVs
this
now.
Stalker here in the middle of the map. He's not going to see the SCVs,
But to tell you the truth, with the extended thermal lens stun, how many recalls does he actually have?
He has none right now. He didn't
none.
rebuild his robotics, remember now, Caldor. But he's going to want to use all of his mules since his SCVs are gone. But when that Dark Shrine finishes, he's not going to have scans necessarily. Yeah, this is going to be pretty scary. But remember, with these Hellions here, even if he doesn't see the DTs, if they're close to the army, they will die to splash damage. And also, he can push turrets forward if he makes it an engineering bay.
He needs to put force fields down the ramp. There we go, using the force fields, trying to back off the tank stand position now, getting a couple of shots off at the Immortal. But the Dark Shrine is done, and we have the DTs now being warped in. He has the gateways. Once again, there's the DT at the front. First scan is being used, but there are more DTs left. And does he have the energy? No, he does not. He does not have energy for another scan, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I think this is a bad choice by Keen. He may still end up winning here. The splash damage doing a lot to the DT, but the DT is going to target down siege tanks now. The Hellions relatively exposed, and Caldor, I think Choya may be able to do this. The siege tanks are falling so quickly to the Dark Templar. He's not targeting anymore, there's only Hellions left, and the DT is going to take out the siege tanks. He's going to do it. I cannot believe what we are seeing, Caldor.
Choya is actually able to pull it off. All of the tanks are dead and gone.
A terrible decision by Keen to go for this all-in with his SCVs. Probes going down here, but the key is now the worker count 28 to 33 in Keen's favor, but the army has been crushed. Choya now in a beautiful position.
Choya turning on the boss mode. He finally gets another Colossi. Another tank is being annihilated.
He has Blink, Caldor, and he has a strong army.
DTs were just such a perfect decision, and you mentioned that Keen used all his energy for the mules. He didn't have any energy left for the scan, and that is something that he regretted. He only got one scan off, killed one Dark Templar, but the second one killed all of his tanks, and then Choya moved in. It was amazing enough that he was able to hold the first attack of Keen, but now Choya is turning up the heat and is trying to attack his opponent head on.
Linking into these siege tanks may have been a mistake, but looks like he will be able to target them down. One goes down, the second one being repaired vehemently here, and it looks like he will hold. He needs to pull back. The Colossus is not in the fight there.
Choya may be overextending here just a little bit. He needs to be very careful. He still has a good position, and the Colossus is walking up the cliff.
It's targeting a Hellion. He does actually get in here. The Immortal not targeting the siege tank. The bunker falls, and the Colossus fighting with the siege tank. The siege tank does go down. The Colossus remains alive. Choya may have done it here.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I cannot believe he's able to do it. This is, I mean, I have never seen anything like it. Choya ties it up 1-1.
What a baller coming back into this game.
An epic finish. He deserves a ceremony. What will he show us?
Look at the FXO bench, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 1-1. What is Choya going to do?
He looks so happy, and he should be, man. Oh, he's got something to say.
Is he calling Genius out?
Oh, let's see. Oh, he comes up to Genius. He puts his arm around him. I wish I could hear what they're saying, but he's asking, would you like to come and play with me? And Genius says, well, I guess I have no choice but to accept your challenge.
And there we go. I mentioned it before the game, and that's exactly what he does. He walks over to the MVP bench and is like, bring it.
There's no doubt in my mind he challenged Genius to come out. And after what happened last night on Play XP, there's no way Genius can reject this challenge. There's just no way. He will have to accept. Oh man, that was an epic game, Caldor. Smart decision making by Choya. I have to say, I really feel if Keen had just stayed home and macroed and not gone for the second wave, he would have won no matter what.
The second attack was a little bit weird. I actually thought that Choya would lose to the first attack, but he waited so long. He lost his whole production. He did have one gate at the natural. That's all that he had in order to warp in additional units. He lost the robotics, but then he was able to break the contain, to kill the bunker, the siege tanks, everything. And Keen, for some reason, decided to pull all his SCVs to go kind of all in and attack him head-on. And the Dark Templars, they saved the day for Choya.
I wonder if Keen's choice was almost a way to try to embarrass his opponent. Obviously, there's this tension here between these two teams. But I really feel like when you think about it, the difference between a high-level Grandmasters player on NA or even a Masters-level player on Korea and Choya is the mindset of a pro gamer when to pull the probes and attack. He barely, and I mean barely, broke that contain, and it was down to the wire. And Choya had like all these numbers spinning around his head. He was like, now's the time. And he went.
Just imagine he had enough energy for a second scan. Keen, that is.
Imagine.
Wow, that would have been it for Choya. And here we have the second player for MVP.
He's going to send out Monster rather than Genius.
Genius does not answer the challenge. It is going to be Monster, and we have Metropolis as the next map.
I'm kind of disappointed Genius didn't accept the challenge, man.
Oh, and look at that. Oz is immediately talking to Choya.
Yeah, obviously Oz and Choya both kind of coaches here. So they're probably talking strategy, what build to do against Monster, because players don't know who's going to be chosen. You know, Monster's done well in Team League, I suppose, in the past. I mean, not extremely well, but he's shown some good games. I remember, like I said earlier, notably losing to Nada to a bunker rush against OGS, the most memorable game I remember against him on Tal'Darim. I think it was even cross positions. So he has the ability to choke and lose, but he's a Code player currently, and it looks like when he comes out second, he wins half the time, according to these statistics. These statistics aren't very conclusive, but half the time he comes out second, he wins.
I have to say that with both teams, with FXOpen as well as MVP, I feel like the team spirit plays a huge role. And if one of the players steps up into the booth and has to play for his team, he just plays so much better as if he's playing in just a one-on-one league. So it's just the whole atmosphere that's going on right here. And we have a Protoss versus Zerg coming up. And Monster, definitely a player that still struggles a little bit, but I think he will give his best right now. He will play for his team, and we might be surprised by Monster. Zerg versus Protoss. Guys, this clan war, it's so far it's been everything that we've been hoping for.
Absolutely, man. The map is going to be Metropolis, a good choice by Monster. This is a map, I feel the choice here by Coach Choi is to bait out the two-base Protoss timing attack. We've seen so many players try to hit the third base on Metropolis with a good sentry-heavy timing attack, sometimes with Immortals, to force field things off and then use the Immortals to take out the Roaches. It's a really, really common map for those types of all-ins, so we'll see what Choya will have planned here.
It's a little bit weird, isn't it?
I really think that Monster is like, he's chosen this map that a lot of Zergs are complaining about right now because he has solved it. He must have solved it.
We talked about it just on Tuesday. We talked about the map a little bit, that it is just so... It is really, really difficult for Zerg against Protoss just because how the third base is set up and all the timing attacks are really, really strong for Protoss. So it's a little bit of an odd choice.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And I really like that. It might freak Choya out a little bit. He might be thinking...
why is he Terran? There we go. Okay. Switching the race the last second before the countdown starts. I was worried there for a second. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be playing Zerg, of course. He's known for that.
Yeah.
He's chosen a tough map here. We'll see what build he's got planned against Choya, the coach of FXOpen here at the GSTL with Caldor and Wolf.